Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. We are in the quarantine still.
Whoop, whoop. That's
Despite
your
the
thing.
what? Whoop,
I
whoop.
said, yep, like you.
I was fist pumping for all of you audio listeners, and Melissa's doing some like Aquarius weird fucking shit.
Did you say Aquarius finger fucking?
No, I said weird shit, but yes, finger
Oh.
fucking. That's some gentle ass finger fucking.
Like what? You're not even doing it right. It comes from the wrist, and then you flick the fingers.
I love it. Welcome, guys. Hope you're all doing well. And do
That's
we
it.
have anything? I'm trying to think of any stuff that we have to discuss, like any housekeeping, anything.
Nah,
No?
I had some conflict this week, and usually, as me, I would have just ghosted the person.
Yeah.
But then I was like, what would I do if I was telling somebody, like, the advice I would give them?
Oh,
And I actually confronted the person instead of ghosting them.
stop it!
Yeah, and I feel like I have grown as a person.
I'm so proud. I'm into it for you. Was it
Yeah.
cathartic, or was it just purely educational for them?
No, it was cathartic. It was educational for them, but it
Yeah.
helped me feel better because I was pissed off.
Oh, perfect. That's always good.
Mhm.
Because I always think, like, if I'm going to confront someone, sure, I could do it for the sake of them. But I also, if I can't do it if it means like sacrificing like I don't know, like if it makes me be like, if I have to like spend 5 hours doing something, being like, okay, this is how, and I'm just like swallowing it, because then I'm like, no, I'm going to hate you forever now. Like I need to release some of this steam. So I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is Don't Blame Me, guys. It's an advice podcast. If you're new here, if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And for the 100th time, please stop sliding into our DMs with 5 bajillion texts of advice that you need.
That's not what we do. This is a show.
And also, like, just purely, like, that this is what the show is for. But then also, like, it is, there's a reason why it's a podcast. Like, it is impossible for us to give advice through that, like reading 15 text slides and remembering everything and then going. It's so much easier when it's happening to you and it's your life and like you can explain it and you're like, oh, this makes total sense. But like, that's why we have a 3-minute time limit, so you can be as concise as possible, and we can also like hear everything, and it's a little less stream of consciousness. But then my side is definitely a stream of consciousness. I just won't give it to other people. Well, should we get into it?
So I'm 21 years old and I'm a Gemini, and I recently broke up with my boyfriend of 3 years. I was deciding to take time for myself, but I ended up getting drunk with my friend and I downloaded Tinder. It was just for fun. I wasn't expecting anything from it, but I matched with this cool guy and we were messaging, and he seemed really nice. He seemed like he was into me. We had a lot in common. He was saying things like, I'm so glad I matched with you. I can't believe I found someone so similar, like interests. He likes talking to me more and more, all that kind of stuff. And he even said he wished it wasn't quarantine so we could go on a real date. And I didn't end up seeing him because of Corona, of course, but he seemed fine with it. Like, he completely understood. He said he really liked getting to know me. We FaceTimed a couple nights, and it was just not awkward at all. And he was just really cool. And he kind of said he really hopes I'm not just looking for a hookup, and he wants to, like, keep talking to me. So it seemed to be going great. It was almost too great in the sense that I was like, whoa, we literally just met on Tinder this week. Like, why is this already so comfortable and we're hitting it off? But I mean, I was honestly down since my last relationship was kind of toxic. It was nice talking to someone like this. But the text started getting really dry, and I was kind of confused. Like, the type of person I am, I always communicate, and, like, sometimes to my detriment. So I said something. I was just like, hey, if you aren't interested anymore, like, just let me know. I know we just met, so it's not a big deal. And he said, no, what do you mean? Like, why? And I was like, I'm sorry. I could totally be wrong. I just felt the energy shift, but, like, not to make things weird. And he ended up saying it was fine, but he started not answering as much. And I texted him the next day, and it was super dry. Barely any messages from him, but I didn't want to force it. And I ended up getting drunk and texted him, hey, and he was answering for a little bit, but after that night, he basically ghosted me. I still have him on Instagram and Snapchat, but no messages back. I just don't really understand what I did wrong, and I'm honestly a little confused because, like, it was going so well. So I know I just met him, but, like, I was still thinking it was weird, and I just wish I had some, like, answers. So if you guys have any insight that I'm not seeing, or if I did something wrong, or if it's a red flag on his part, please let me know. And also, like, how to deal with being ghosted, because I feel even a little silly being this affected by it, but I'm just really confused. And he's also an Aries, if that helps. Thanks, guys. Bye.
This is the most Gemini call ever. I have like multiple friends who are Geminis, so it's the exact same thing where it's like a guy will like pull away and they'll be like, I would like to be, they're like so communicative, like so all about it. And then it's like, they're like, huh? I also want to add that I really do love the new slang, dry, for like conversations when they're like sucky and like they're boring. Like, I love when it's like, oh, he's just like dry. Like, I live for that.
That's not new at all.
Okay, well, I mean, it's new to me.
Okay.
We've been over this. White people are the last to get every fucking slang. Straight white people are the last to get all of the slang. Straight and white. I'm like, oh, dry. This is so cool and new. But I like it. I mean, this guy's just like, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of textbook when we talk about fuckboys. Like, no one, not that you're not that sick, but no one is that cool that like right off the bat, like you should be like, I don't know. I'm not into guys who say all that kind of stuff without knowing me. Like, if you've known me a week, you're like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I like can't believe I've met a girl like you. Like, someone's as cool as you. And I'm like, so as cool as I am, you've known me within a week and you've never met another woman like that in like your whole life. This one fucking week. And us fucking texting and talking is like so wildly different than every other woman you've been in contact with. And that to me, I just think like, oh, so you think less of women and you're not surrounded by like cool people. So like, why the fuck would I come into your life to be like the one? I don't know. Like, I guess like that's just kind of like where my mind goes. And the same thing as we always say is that like, you should both be getting to know each other and like seeing if you're both interested. And I'm sure the quarantine has like puts like the fast pedal on everything because everyone's like horny and lonely, but it's just like a lot.
My thing is, he said if quarantine wasn't happening, I would want to go on a date with you. I think he was testing her to see if she would actually say yes to a date. And then when she didn't say yes, that's when the conversation went dry.
Oh my God, you are so right. He just wanted to hook up.
Yep.
He just wanted to hook up, and so he slow pitched it to you to be like, you gonna take it, and you didn't, and then he fully pulled back. You're 100% right. That's exactly what that was, because the dry that whole thing, like, we've done that. We've all done that. Like, that's like, oh, I'm not interested in this person anymore, and that's. Yeah, like, you can just tell when someone's saying something to, like, get something out of you, and then didn't get anything out of you. And then when that total shift happens, believe that and, like, pay attention to that. So, like, you didn't do anything wrong at all. And I would say, like, your second part of being like, well, how do I get over someone being ghosted? Like, how do I, like, deal with all of that? I think, like, it's great to be, like, vulnerable and, like, open to, like, love and relationships and all of that stuff. But I think there's also a huge part of, like, your heart is going to be loud no matter fucking what. Your head is the thing that fucking quiets down when you start to have these feelings, and focus on what your head is telling you. Like, focus on that and your brain and being like, okay, well, logically, this feels really great. But logically, does this guy know me super well? No. Like, am I only feeling these things? Would I have said this to him if he didn't say it back? Because it always feels good to have a compliment most of the time, unless, like, someone's like, it's girl. I mean, I feel uncomfortable with a lot of compliments, but, like, I also love attention. But there's, like, something about it. It's obvious that, like, that's something that you want to hear. And, like, when you hear it, it can make you feel good and then make you be like, that's how I feel too. And it's like, but did I feel that before they said that? And also, am I just flattered?
Yeah. And with you coming out your last relationship being very toxic, you're, like, craving some of that attention. So it felt good that he was saying the things that you wanted to hear. But that's exactly what he was doing, saying things that you wanted to hear and not. Like, actually, he wasn't really invested in this. And you get over being ghosted in this type of way by realizing this is somebody that you'd rather have ghost you now than down the road. And so he's probably just, like, keeping you in the rotation and having some small conversations with you just in case down the road that you actually do want to hook up, and he'd probably hook up with you and then dump you after that. Yeah. So don't allow yourself to be used unless it's mutual using.
And also, you said your last relationship was kind of toxic. So I would also do some, like, you know, reflecting on that now and being like, are you downplaying it, or are you like, sit with that. And I also think that, like, if you're using Tinder to kind of, like, get over a relationship, or even just, like, boost your confidence. We all know here, if you've been here for a while, I'm all about that shit. I love that shit. But I think the key component to using it to really boost your confidence is just swiping and going and all of that. And I don't necessarily think that you should message people. And if, like, they message you, don't respond, and just go through and swipe and see the people and, like, be like, oh, wow, people are still interested in me. But it's not, I don't think you're ready for a relationship. And also, if you're still, like, kind of feeling jaded or hurt or, like, needing something, like, emotion, like, you're feeling, like, unfulfilled because of your last relationship, then I think you're going to see that thing in all of these other people versus like, oh, what do I want when I'm ready for a relationship versus, like, I'm really going through it. And, like, you don't need their words. You just need their swipe rights. You just need their, like, it's a match. Woohoo. Yep. And then not follow through on that. So that's what I would advise you to do, is just not message people. And whatever, if anyone, I mean, I think leading someone on is, like, a fucking line when people say, like, women are leading guys on, like, is literally just a line.
It's
to, like,
calling you a tease, which is not something that exists.
And it's like, it's essentially, it is just an excuse to be like, you owe me sex. Like, that's what you owe me. Excuse me. And I think, like, in turn, most of the time for, like, like hetero cis men who are like, oh, he led me on. It's, oh, he made me believe he wanted a relationship, but he just wanted sex.
Yep.
And that's usually how the terms work. So, but I think if you are not investing like the time in like messaging someone and talking to someone, who the fuck cares? Like everyone's on dating apps to either boost their confidence, and a huge amount of people are on dating apps to just like hook up. So if you're just swiping and not messaging, you're fucking fine. Like you're so fine. But I think if you need that like conversation and that validation, like through talking to people, I think that's that's probably a sign that like I would say therapy over like talking to a guy. I think if that's the stuff that you're seeking and needing, you don't give that much responsibility and that much like vulnerability to people that you don't know. Like you're essentially, you're giving them like, hey, not that your self-worth is like rooted in what they think about you, but if you get out of a bad relationship that does make you question your self-worth and then you go to other people for that, you're essentially giving these strangers like permission to like, hey, I'm really vulnerable right now and like I need your like approval, and if I don't, and like here, permission to like completely shatter me. Which I think we've all done that before, but I don't think or I know that that's not. It doesn't feel good.
Right.
Doesn't feel good. Best of luck. Let's add that to the list. I've never met a girl like you before.
Yeah.
That's our list on fuckboy things to say.
Hi, Megan and Melisa. I met my girlfriend a year ago, and all this time, until quarantine started, I had a busy schedule with working and studying and playing soccer in my college. So I only had weekends to hang out with her. So we would enjoy the time as much as we could. We would go out and drink or have friends over or just chill at home, and we would drink because it was weekends and that was my only free time. We also went on vacation for 2 weeks last December, and it was a fun party place, so we basically drink every single day, and it was so much fun. But now, when quarantine started, she moved into my apartment. We are both working from home, but I am also in school, so I have online classes and homework to do, and I also work out every day. So for the first time, we are spending so much time together, and just now I realize how much she drinks and smokes. And I don't know if this is her way to deal with quarantine, which I totally understand because this is a weird time for everyone, or if this is something that will happen for the rest of our lives. All I know is that now she doesn't look motivated with her job, and at nighttime she keeps saying that she's bored, even after I suggest things for us to do, and she only gets happy when she makes herself a drink and gets a little high. I don't usually join her because I have work meetings in the mornings and lots of school homework to do, and she knows that. Anyway, I'm just worried and also frustrated every time I want to talk to her and she's grumpy or hangover, and I just don't know if this is the real her that I am only seeing now that we are stuck at home together. Also, Megan, I love your book. Thank you for writing that and recording because I got the audiobook because I'm from Brazil and that was the fastest way to get the book. Okay. Thank you for listening, guys. Love you. Bye.
Oh my God, I love beautiful accent too. I love how she says your name.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the way it's spelled, that's how it should be said because I don't have the one S, but that's just because my mom not misspelled it, but she thought that's how my grandmother's, but great grandmother spelled it, and she did not.
Wait, I did not know that. Oh my God, that's funny. When did she find that out?
I found it out, but I was at my grandmother's house and I found some paperwork, and I was like, her name is not spelled like this. And this was it was when I was like in college, so well into adulthood.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Wow. God, this is hard because I think that this could be her, and I think that this could just be, it could be her, it could be a product of quarantine, it could be like exacerbated by quarantine, or also she could be just a college student, or she could be like depressed. And I think that like all of those things are I think probably equally as plausible. And I think the quarantine has like brought a lot out of everybody. So like if
everyone and relationships.
Yeah. So I think if this is how she's always been, I think it's like an amplified version. This is like when you do Molly, people say it's like an extra version. It's like the most intense version of your personality. This is like quarantine. It's like this is the most concentrated, but also you have all of these outside stressors, and then also you have all outside stressors on you too. So even if you don't realize, your fuse is going to be a little bit shorter because like you're stressed and you have all this other stuff. So like you don't have like the bandwidth necessarily to like want to deal with her. So like there's just tension everywhere. But also she could be like depressed and like coping with like drinking and smoking because she is like depressed and unhappy. But also that she could always be like that, or it could be the quarantine. But I think the only thing that you can do, or I guess first evaluate how it makes you feel, like, and if this is her and how she's always been, is that okay with you? Do you like that or do you not? Or if it's the like figure out what you want instead, like what you're disappointed by and what you don't really like. Don't say that to her, but like figure it out in your head, because then I think from there, maybe you're just over the relationship and there's no reason why you even need to really like you guys are staying together, but like maybe it's like breaking up versus like trying to like unpack all of this and like get back to a different place. But I think the only thing that you can do right now is like have a conversation with her and just ask her without being like accusatory and just being like, hey, the quarantine's put a lot of pressure on me, I know, and I know it's put a lot of pressure on you, and it's put a lot of like pressure on like relationships like as a whole. And I just have noticed that you seem you seem to be like not like, how are you doing? Like, are you okay? Like, how are you feeling about all of this stuff? Like, and if she's like, oh, I'm fine, like this is just like, it's me, then you're like, okay. But if she's saying like, no, I'm really having a tough time, then I think you can say, I think like I've been able to sense that. And I have also noticed that it seems to me that like when you're having a tough time, like you do turn to like alcohol and like I think weed a lot. So then I would bring it up that way. But I think like as opposed to going at it by you've changed or any of like the ideas of what you think it could be, just ask her how she's doing and see if she wants to open that conversation. Because also maybe she doesn't. Like maybe she's like not doing so hot, it doesn't really want to talk about it. And then from there, you also have to prioritize your own mental health and like what you want out of the relationship. But you have to like ask her.
If it's something that she is aware that she's doing to self-medicate and concerned about what's going on in the world, then you can talk about therapy and things like that. But either way, it seems like she's abusing alcohol. And so it is a conversation that I think that she needs to have with somebody, first recognizing if she has a problem, and if she does, then speaking to a professional about it, because there's really nothing that you can, except for like being there for her. There's really nothing else you can do for her.
Yeah, and it's taking a toll on your relationship with her, because like anytime you really try to have like a conversation or talk about something with her, like she's either like hungover or like doesn't want to like engage and is like in a bad mood. So it is like affecting that. And I think also there's like, I think like you can use like alcohol and drugs to cope without being like dependent on them. But I also think that like I'm bored, so I'm just going to keep doing that. It's like it's a depressant. It's like an addict. It's like, it's not as much as that a fun situation. Like my mindset as someone who doesn't drink anymore, my mindset is like, if you're drink in a situation, or like where I would feel comfortable eventually, like drink in a situation where it's fun, it's already fun. And if you have like one social drink, it might make it like a little more fun. But like a situation that's like sucky, or like friends that you don't like, or anything that you're like, oh, let me drink to get through this kind of thing. It's like, well, why are you here? Right. Like, how about instead of like drinking to get through it, don't be in don't be in those positions where you're doing stuff that you don't like or you don't want to do or that are so boring and terrible. It's because it's also addictive. Like if that's how the way that you go to for having like fun when you're bored, it's not sustainable. And it's also just going to make you feel shittier because it's a depressant. But this might just be like her personality and like you're just discovering it now. Yeah. But I always think if your inclining is to like break up and you don't like the person's personality, they don't need to know that. You can just break up. Like you don't have to like tell them like, turns out I don't really like you. Like turns out like you kind of suck. Now that we spent more time together, like I just don't really like you. But
so what excuse would you give though for the breakup?
They've been dating for like a year, right? She said that. They've been dating for like a while. Shit. So it's a real breakup. I can't ghost.
They live in the same place, so you can't just ghost. She has to kick her out.
If you want to be super upfront, just be like, I've like really enjoyed like the time that we spent together and I really like you. I just think that like this quarantine has put a lot of pressure on our relationship and I don't think we're as compatible as I thought we were before. Have a nice life. Goodbye.
That was very mature.
Hey, Megan and Melissa. I'm going to get straight into it. So my girlfriend wants to get a Native American tattooed on her arm, or like a Native American warrior with a headdress on her arm. And she's Vietnamese. And I think it's wrong. I think it's cultural appropriation, and so do a lot of other people. But she thinks that it's fine, and she says that it's just art, and that it's just art, and she's appreciating it. But I don't think so. I think it's wrong, and I think it's cultural appropriation to get something like that on your body without being part of the culture or appreciating the culture. And so we're currently in an argument about it because I said that I don't respect people who put symbols of other cultures on their body without either being part of that culture or being really fascinated and loving that culture. And she said, so what does that say about our relationship that you don't respect me because I'm still getting the tattoo? Am I being stupid? Like, is this a sort of like, not my body, doesn't matter? Am I like being too harsh? I'd love to hear your advice. Give it to me straight. I don't really care. Thanks.
I mean, a quick Google search will tell you the answer to this. And like, I would print off anything I found and just post it up everywhere in the house and be like, it's not your culture. You don't even understand the meaning of it. You probably wouldn't even know what tribe of indigenous people it came from, why it's there, why people wear it. It's not it's cultural appropriation, and you're not even appreciating the art because you don't understand what it even means. So just because something looks pretty doesn't mean that you can put it on your body.
And also, I think a big thing that people, I think something that is super important is like cultural appropriation in general, awful. Mm-hmm. But then there are also, when you are culturally appropriating something that you think looks cool, that has symbolic or religious meaning. And so it's not just like, and I think like Native American culture in general is like rooted in, it's not something that like is, this is like a style that this culture has, and there's no not that like maybe there's meaning behind everything, but it's more like, our culture thinks this is pretty, and that's why we like it, because it's pretty, not because of all of like the deep roots in history and all of that kind of stuff. That's still cultural appropriation. If you're like, well, I like the thing that they think is pretty, that's like pretty in their culture, but like us as like white people or whatever, like we've looked down upon that, but now once I take that on, it's cool and fun. But it's especially when it is something that is like that's it's history. It has like significance. It has like actual like real meaning. It's like when similar to like when people would wear bindis. And I also say this as someone who I did Kathak Indian dance when I was a kid. And I loved it. And as I got older, I was like, wow, it's hella fucked up that like a bunch of white kids did this traditional Indian dance taught by a white teacher. And we all wore like saris, bindis. We wore everything and never had a conversation about it, never understood what we were singing or what we were saying or anything like that. And I look back on those like photos of me at like 8 years old and I'm like, this is fucking mortifying. Like who the fuck thought this was a good idea?
Yeah.
But especially once I got older and I like was seeing these pictures and I was like, oh my God, that like a bit like the color of your bindi means something. That like the placement, like the shape and all of that sort of stuff. Like that's so similar in this situation where it's like, you don't even know there's so much nuance to like, it's not like you're getting like a Disney, it's not like you're getting Pocahontas where you're getting like the Disney like watered down
and even
like
that
appropriation
is problematic.
Exactly. Like you're not even getting the appropriate like the Disney appropriated version of Native American culture. You're not even getting that. You're getting like, no. I'm going to do my own appropriation. And like what? Like no. Like it's not a thing. And then I just think that like so I have a friend who her ex wanted to get their frat number tattooed on them. And he showed her what he wanted it to look like. And she was like, I'm going to level with you. That looks like that looks like you are being branded, and the style of that's done in is what a lot of Holocaust victims have. And he really didn't want to hear it, and she pretty sure she like sent it to his like friend or his like other people in his life and was like, no, this isn't happening. And he ended up like later, never ended up getting it. Later on down the road was like, thank you. Like, because that I was ignorant and I was really stupid and I would feel so fucking embarrassed if I had done that and I had like dug my heels in and did it and then looked back years later and saw, oh, wow, that is offensive. Yeah. That is incredibly, incredibly offensive. And I mean, yeah, I don't respect your girlfriend either. And I think that's like.
And what it says about your relationship is that she obviously doesn't have respect for other people's culture, and if you see that, and if she doesn't, that means that you guys don't have the same values.
Yeah. And also, I think
I was just going to say, Brooklyn Beckham got this tattooed on him years ago.
Is he a child?
Headdress? No, he's like an adult now. I just did a audiobook that I directed about David Beckham's life.
Oh, okay.
But he got this tattoo of a Native American with a headdress on and got so much flack for it when he posted it online. So maybe just go find that. Go find something about that and then share it with her.
Yeah, and ask her like, hey, if we went to Coachella, would you wear a Native American headdress? Like, would you like, where does she draw the line at cultural appropriation? What does she think is cultural appropriation? Because I also think that like these kinds of moral issues, I'm like, oh, so our relationship, what this means for our relationship is that our relationship, the respect you have for me is contingent on the fact that you don't have anything from my culture you want to appropriate. But if you did, you would do it. And like, just because it doesn't directly affect you in this situation doesn't mean, it means that you are an exception to her rule. And like, that's the thing that I'm like, fuck no. Like, fuck no. And also, she's dumb. Like, she's dumb and stupid. And when you're dumb and fucking stupid, as someone who's like not that bright, like, I don't dig my heels in. I don't know. And if you're going to fucking be like, well, no, I'm going to still fucking do it, then it's like, okay, cool. I have told you that you are stupid. You had a chance to understand this, and instead of understanding it and being like, oh wow, this girlfriend who I care about and I love and I respect her opinion, instead of listening to her, I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm still fucking doing it. Then like, okay, then she doesn't think that highly of you either. She thinks that she's smarter than you, and she doesn't value your correct, it's not even your opinion, she doesn't value the fact that you are giving fucking facts. And she's seeing it as your opinion, which she is deeming less than hers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, guys, we are back from our break. Melissa's eating hard-boiled eggs. She doesn't like them, and she's eating them anyway. And let's get into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Megan. So I have been a long-time listener, and I know that you've had tons of people call in about their friends and saying, like, my friend is in this toxic relationship. How do I help her? And you're like, it's not their life. You know, you can't make them learn lessons. And I know this, and I've been through this. I'm 24. But my friend is in a very toxic relationship, and they've been on again, off again. She's 22. He's fucking 32 with 2 children, Megan, and guest. You know, my question is, like, why can't he get women his own age? It's definitely not because he's a piece of shit, but, like, you know, whatever. Anyway, it's like, you know, when someone you love is in a toxic relationship, it really is like watching them self-harm, because you know what they're doing is bad for them, but you can't stop them. It's like an addiction. You know, it's like they're an alcoholic. It's like you cannot stop. An alcoholic can't get better unless they want to. You can buy all the rehab they want, whatever, but they can't get better unless they want to. So my question is, how do I be that supportive friend? How do I not lecture and, you know, did you say, like, it's not your life, whatever. Okay, I get that, but how? How do I ensure that she feels supportive, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you're an alcoholic? Yay, I'm going to support you in, like, this drinking binge because I'm a supportive friend. Like, that's not love. Like, you know, that's not love, encouraging that behavior, supporting that behavior. So how do I equal parts love and support them when they're doing something toxic? And I'm not an I told you so person, even though I'm always right. And I've been through this with my best friend, and she, you know, the lecturing didn't work. Surprise. She had to learn the lesson on her own. And so I want to be the best friend I can to this person, because now I'm presented with the situation again, and I want to be a really, really good friend. I don't want to do what I did last time. She knows how I feel. She knows my points about the situation, and I've said it civilly. So now that she continues to date this person on again, off again, how do I be the best possible friend to her while also not condoning a toxic relationship? Okay, I think cut that out. Thank you so much. And I am looking forward to your lesson on how to be a supportive friend when their friend is in a toxic relationship. Bye.
I mean, the kicker is you can't. Like,
Right.
that's you can't. Either you make your feelings known and then they stop coming to you. And I think that's what happened with your best friend. And I've done that. Or you remove yourself from the friendship and the situation because you can't condone it. Because you're right. It is like if you're condoning, and I would also, I understand your comparison, but I think we also need to, like, I think a comparison if we don't know what the level of, like, toxicness is. If this is like a physical or emotionally abusive relationship, but then I think, like, that's something where you need to, like, put your foot down and, like, talk to, like, if she lives with them, like, talk to her family. Like, that's, like, when it's, like, that's an intervention point. And then, but that she also doesn't, they're on and off again. So I don't think they live together, but also if it's a physically abusive relationship, you just said toxic. So I'm just going to assume it's not abusive.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the only thing you can do is listen. But if you listen and you bite your tongue and she already knows how you feel and you're not cutting her out of your life and you're not being like, oh, I can't watch this happen, then even if you like it or not, you are condoning it. Like, you are, and it's not, if you're going to support her, if you want to support her unconditionally and be supportive, you also have to then essentially be supportive as she's in this relationship, because this is a part of her right now. And in order to support her, you will have to support that relationship.
See, I don't think so.
But I just think it means in the sense that like, not that you have to say, like, that's just, you have to sit there and like essentially be like a silent bystander while this happens and wait for her to look on it again. Like wait for her to figure it out on her own. Like, I don't think that you can say everything you want to say and like all of that sort of shit and then not have that affect your friendship with her.
See, I had a friend that was in like this severely toxic relationship that I did not agree with at all. So when she would tell me things, like I would be there for her to be supportive because I didn't want her to be left. Because when you're left alone, then all they know and all they can be around is the toxicness of that relationship because they have no one else.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be there and support them by physically being there. And then if they told what was going on in the relationship, I would give my opinions. And then eventually it got to the point where she was able to see what was actually happening to her.
Yeah. No, I think that's what I've done. I've done the telling. I've done the listening to a friend and like not saying anything. But I think the thing that if you clearly have not said something so polarizing where she's kicked you out of her life, she's still been there and been around. And if she knows how you feel, like we've said all the time, you only have to say it once. And then from there, if I have made my feelings clear to you once and you have chosen to stay in the relationship, then the next time that you talk to me about it, I'm just going to listen. And if then my friend is like, well, I really want your opinion, my response has always been, you know how I feel. And I care about you. And I don't know if what I'm going to say right now, you know what I'm going to say. And if you want me to say it, I will. But I don't know if that's what you need or want right now. And I think that if you can do that, then that's like a great thing. But it can be hard because depending on how toxic the relationship is, that she might only want people around. Like, and the friendship might end on her terms. It might not be you big. Like, if you don't pull away because it's hard for you to like witness and watch, she might then be like, well, you're not being as supportive as I need you, as I want you to be. So therefore, then I don't want to be friends with you. And I think that you just kind of need to know that might happen and that's okay. But I think the only way that you can, it just depends on what she wants, because that's it. Like, you can support her as much as you want as a friend, but if she as a friend will only like love language wise, like she will only see support if you are supporting this toxic relationship, then you can't be that friend for her because that's not what she's looking for. So I think it really depends on that. But I think the best thing that you can do is just listen. And I mean, nobody fucking forgets if you tell them that you hate their boyfriend or that you think they're toxic. Like, she hasn't forgotten that. She knows that. You don't need to remind her. And sometimes it's just kind of like therapy. Like, you need a wall to kind of, not that you're a wall, but like a soundboard to like bounce the stuff off of. And the more that you talk about it, the more that you come to your own realizations. But I think the more that you can just, like, your silence and listening, that speaks for like how you feel about the situation. But I would also be cautious and careful if they're on again, off again, to not like the second that they're off again to be like, oh my God, thank God, like blah, 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 like you broke up, like I'm so glad, like, and then you guys are both, and she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they get back together. Cause I've had that too, where I've like stayed silent. I like said my piece like once after a long period of time of being like, this is what I've noticed. And I'm like, I think that like worries me and like blah, 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 like very like soft. Then they broke up, and then the person was like, oh my God, yeah, fuck that dude, all that shit, like listen to all that stuff. And it was like, we were like, yeah. And then they go back together and I was like, oh no, fuck, shit. And that like completely.
And then that's when they're like, that's when they usually tell you, well, he changed.
Yeah. And then they also tell their partner all of the stuff that you said.
Yep.
And then you stop being friends, which was what happened with me. And so that's like, I think that's the reason why I'm saying that, like, I think you can't be a supportive friend without supporting her relationship if she needs you to support her relationship to be a friend. So as you can do everything that you can, but it's ultimately up to her and what she wants and what she needs from a friendship. So I don't spread yourself so thin. Don't compromise like your own feelings and your own like sanity and mental health and all of that sort of stuff to like be there for her in a way that like that feels like not authentic to you and like maybe feels detrimental to you by supporting. Moral of the story, if she knows that you already don't like him, you don't have to say it again. Just listen. Just listen when she says that. And most of the time, unless she asks you explicitly for your opinion or your thoughts or your feelings on it, don't give it away immediately. Ask her if she really wants it and kind of give that subtle hint of, and I always say, like, what kind of Megan do you want? Like, do you want me to be honest and do you want my feelings, or do you want me to say, do you want me to say what do you want me to hear? Like, what do you want to hear from me? Like, do you want me to say what's going to make you happy? Or do you want me to say like what I think and what I feel? And I think that like that can sound like a scary thing to say, but like Sydney and I say that to each other like all the fucking time. And there are so many times she's like, no, I just like need you to be my hype man. And I'm like, yeah, go for it, dude. Like, love it. And like, it's not like there's no animosity on my side at all, because like my goal as a friend is to be the best possible friend for you. And like, if that's what you need from me, I'm not salty about it. I'm not bitter about it, because like, well, I don't want to say something that's going to hurt you, that's like not going to benefit you, and that is like not going to help you in this current situation. Like, I'm going to say whatever is going to help you. And like down the road, eventually, like you're going to want the honesty and you're going to be ready for that. But I'm not going to give that to you if like that's not where you're at mentally and not something that like you can handle or something that you can process and deal with at the time. So yeah, I would also, last thing I'd say on this, I would also try your best not to think of this as like your redo for the thing that you did with your best friend, because this is also her life. Like, this is this girl's relationship in this girl's life, and it's not about you, and it's not about like you proving this to her or like doing it better or anything like that. Like, it's a totally unique and different situation, and there's nothing to prove. Like, you just got to care about her and her feelings day to day in the moment, and not big picture, because it's easier to see when you're not in it.
Okay, so I'm in this like really weird situation with my boyfriend and his ex-girlfriend, because my boyfriend works for his ex-girlfriend's grandpa, and like they met through him working there, so it's not like they like were dating and that's like how he got the job or anything like that. And they broke up like 3 years ago, and me and my boyfriend have been dating for over a year now. And so like a couple months ago, so the girl I'm talking about right now, his ex, and this other girl who's another ex of my boyfriend's, started like calling me and my best friend and like telling us that like they were gonna shoot us, and like that they had a scope to our head, and that they were following us, and that we better not like go to sleep because we might never wake up, and all this stuff. And so we got a restraining order against them, because we recorded all the phone calls, so we got a restraining order. And so since then, I still have been going out to my boyfriend's work, because he got a DUI, so he can't drive. And it's like a lot of times he needs a ride to work, or he's either going to have to drive himself. And if he gets caught driving, he's going to go to jail, or I'm going to have to give him a ride, or he just like won't be able to go to work. So earlier I went out to his job to go get him, and his ex was there, and his ex's mom started like freaking out, and she was like yelling at my boyfriend and all this stuff. She was like, oh, like your girlfriend, like your little hoe girlfriend shouldn't be here. Like, it's all her fault that my daughter is on probation, and like all this stuff, which like isn't true. Obviously, I wasn't the one calling us threatening to kill me and my friend. And so anyways, so they're going to call the cops on us, and on me, not my friend, because she wasn't there, but they're going to call the cops on me and say that I'm like violating the restraining order and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't know what to do, because it's just such a crazy situation. And I would like to stop coming out there for my boyfriend, but I also I don't want him to go to jail, and there's nobody else who has like the free time at the right times to come and get him. So I want your advice Thank you. Bye.
Wait, when you have a DUI, you can drive to and from work.
Maybe it depends on what state you're in.
Yeah, or like, I guess, but like
I don't know.
Yeah, usually with that, like maybe
You
if
get
it's
the
like
breathalyzer in your car.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, and also maybe if it's like if he had like multiple offenses and like his license is suspended, but like I'm pretty sure like a suspended license like for a DUI, you can only like drive to like AA meetings, court dates, and to and from work, like that, because that seems like I mean, like my first thing there would be like he should like Uber or like Lyft and like, or is there no coworker like that can like take him?
Also,
Can you just stay in the car?
It's a lot of legal stuff that I don't understand or know about, but like, how is it if you're driving to drop him off and she just happens to be there and she like, how is that violating the restraining order that she can call it on, that the ex can call it on the caller?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because unless she has like it was like a countersuit sort of thing, and then she also got a restraining order against you. But I mean, I think like practically, if you're gonna drop him off and pick him up, stay in the car.
Yeah, or drop him off like a block away. And he can walk the rest of the way.
Also, he should find a new job.
Yeah.
Like, he really should find a new job.
Because everyone there is toxic. Like, why would you want to work with somebody whose mom and daughter, aka your ex, his ex and his ex's mom, that they're threatening your life? Like, why would he want to stay at that job?
It makes
maybe they're in a small town and there's not a lot of jobs available.
It's construction in my mind. Is it construction in your mind?
It's something I saw, like a feed store.
A feed store?
Feed, F-E-E-D.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I don't know why that's what I pictured in my head.
I don't know why I pictured a construction site. That's what I pictured.
I mean, I'm thinking of something that's like an essential business. That's a family business that it's just okay for all these people that are in the same family to be there at any given time. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think my practical advice is call whoever whoever your contact. I don't have a restraining order against anybody, but like whoever surprising. Like it is, I mean, not without trying. But whoever your contact is, or like the judge, or like if you had like a lawyer or anything like that, or like the state or whoever that you were in contact with for that, I would contact them and immediately just like tell them like, this is what's going on. This is what like happened, blah, blah, blah. And I would then also do some more, maybe you just didn't explain, like maybe you know it and you just didn't explain it because you didn't think you needed to, which you didn't, but like of like your boyfriend's like, why can't he like Uber? Why can't he like Lyft or something like that? Why can't he carpool with like someone else who like works there? Or also, are you sure that he can't drive to and from work? Like, or did he like total his car? Like what, like something like that. He should find a new job, but in the interim, if you're driving him and picking him up, then don't get out of the car. Like you said, do like a couple blocks away.
Yeah.
And stay in the car. Because that's your property.
Mm-hmm. Their property. Or yeah, her car is her property.
Yeah.
Got it. But if she's driving onto their property, then that's different.
So that's insane.
Crazy.
Dude, the mom?
Like, how good is his dick?
That's what I'm like, bitch, why are you with him still? Like, I would be like, this is a lot. Goodbye.
It's like so much like the ex is like threatening your life. Like he meant that much to her.
Yeah, I'd be like, take him.
Yeah.
Like
Jeez.
it's so odd. Like
Mhm.
it's so odd. And also like, I want to know, did he date anyone in between? Because like he dated her 3 years ago. You guys have been dating for a year. So has this been happening since you started dating him? And like, did this happen to other girls that he dated? And also, if she's on probation, it's not her first offense.
No.
So maybe she's done this to the other
Also,
girlfriends.
Did you know her before? And then she's mad.
Oh my God. And also, where do they work? Oi, oi, oi. We need a follow up with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Most
Please.
definitely.
And if there's like legal stuff that we won't share it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But like we want to know. So you can slide into our DMs. We're giving
I'm
you
sure the
permission.
lawyers and law school people will be commenting on this.
Yes. Please do.
Well, it's time for Don't Blame Them.
Okay. This is where you guys call in with your own advice from previous episodes. So what is
This
it?
is from season 6, episode 1, where the gal, she was in college. She's a freshman. Her supposed boyfriend is a senior.
Ugh.
And he did not want people to know that they were together. And here's somebody calling with their own advice.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm calling to kind of add on to the situation where a girl called in and she talked about dating a guy in college and he's much older than her and how he is keeping her and the relationship secret and kind of saying that I won't introduce you to the family or friends. And I just wanted to say that in high school, I went through the same thing. So it definitely is a very immature high school thing, or maybe just like frat boy type of guy. But basically in high school, I gave my boyfriend at the time an ultimatum, and I told him that if he doesn't like put his foot forward in this relationship and introduce me to the family and his friends, that I would just not be in a relationship anymore and I would break up with him, because ultimately it's not worth it to get your feelings hurt and keep everything secretive, which is also really heartbreaking as well. Especially if you love him, you really want to make sure that he loves him the way that you love him, or the way that he loves you the way that you love him. And ultimately, he showed up. My boyfriend at the time, he did this for me, and we stayed dating. But if he does, say like, no, I can't do that for you, then definitely dump his ass, and don't ghost him, because you want to be the bigger person. Like, I know you can be the bigger person, and try not to take anything he says after you dump him too personally, because I know you deserve way better. Anyways, I hope this helped, and yeah, thanks, bye.
Well, you're the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna level with you. I don't have high hopes or good faith in that girl's the original caller's situation.
I don't think they're together anymore anyway.
I don't either.
Because
think
we're
they
like
are
quarantined. They're not even at school anymore. Like, I don't think they're together.
Also, I would say it is a high school situation, but it's very different in high school because you live with your parents. You see the person at school every day. Like, people know, like high school people know, like friends. If it's like, oh, I'm not meeting your friends from other schools, but like everybody at our school knows that.
Not
like,
necessarily if she was a freshman and he was a senior and they weren't.
No, I mean the girl who's calling back, the girl who's the don't blame them advice girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was in high school when it happened. So if she was a freshman and the guy was a senior and then they were never like in the same hallways together, then people.
Oh, you're right.
Might not know at school. They could have been like neighbors sneaking around. And then at school, he was like, nah. But then she said, no.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
I think this other guy is like,
he's not going to come around. We had other calls that were very hot, coming in very hot, but it was like more of our opinion. So I just wanted to give a different taste.
No, because I think that's the thing that like, when you're in a situation, we always want to see and hear what we want to hear. And like, we want it to be the way that it is. And maybe hearing this kind of stuff, if you asked the guy that you were dating to do this, that he wouldn't do that. And it's like, oh, okay. So like, there's an exception to the rule in my mind. In my mind, I can paint myself as the exception to the rule. And then I hear the exception to the rule and it's like, no, that's not, I don't think that's going to work. So yeah. I mean, we're all going to be the exception to the rule at one point in our lives. And then that gives us this hope that like moving forward, we will continue to be. I had that. I was the exception to the rule in high school, but I also didn't really like care that much. But then as I like went on, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm immune to this stuff. And then I was like, oh no, that was like a one-time thing. Okay, for sure. So, but guys, please let us know what you and your fuckboys are. Like what your college fuckboys. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Or if you're in our Facebook group, maybe I'll start a thread on our Facebook group to be like, let us know your college fuckboy. Where do you guys stand now and what happened? Not also, the new one.
And if you're a fuck girl, how are you surviving in this time?
And what are you doing with your bench?
Yeah.
Like if you actively have a bench or you had a bench, what's happened? Have you made a new bench? Like, have you?
I would think that this would be the prime time for a fuck girl to survive, like where she can put in minimum effort.
Yeah.
Because the dudes are already so thirsty. So like just her being on Tinder and just fucking with dudes, like,
get it, bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking get it. Wow.
Because fuckboys have to work a little harder.
Well, that's the thing that I'm like, and also fuckboys, like, I just don't foresee a fuckboy like continuing on with the girl that he was like stringing along in college. Like I see him then texting the girl, like his hometown girlfriend who's also now home, or going on Tinder and finding new girls and then doing the thing that this guy, one of the first calls is doing, of being like, sucks that we can't go on a date because of quarantine.
Yeah.
Question.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Question mark?
Mm-hmm.
Can we? And so that's what I wonder that. I think the fuckboys I think that's like a whole different world for them.
Yeah.
Wow. That's it for our episode, guys. If you want to call in for an upcoming one, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Our Facebook group is currently closed.
You can't even find it now. I made it so you can't even find it.
God.
That's why we haven't got any new requests in a day or two.
Yes, fantastic. It will open up again, but we are just closing it. We have a lot of members right now, and with the current times, we're
I mean, we haven't gone a week without having to
kick someone out, block them.
So
we're making sure that for all of you who are wanting to join forward, that we're getting rid of we're cleaning house. So it's going to be a better place once you guys are eventually in it. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we hit 10K. We hit 10.2. Oh, I don't want to jinx it. But
it's
if you want to
keep
follow
going
us there, Don't Blonde Meme Pod. Check us out. And our socials are down below. My book is out. You're Not Special. And we'll have resource links in the description also. Anything else? Oh, come on, you got yours. Your other podcast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got so many though. Your newest. My newest
the
one.
newest on your bench.
Well, that would be Jocelyn Lilly though.
Okay. The second newest on your bench.
The second newest is Never Sleep Alone podcast. And it is just like very sexy and saucy. And we're going like, if you guys like the sex questions we do here, this is the next level. Like things that Megan and I don't have experience with that we can't even touch. This is the next level of that. And I think you guys would enjoy it because it's more like a roundtable discussion. And we've got an expert that's there, at least one expert, and then other people. And it's fun. It's hosted by Dr. Alex Schiller, who is a genius and also not a real doctor. So it's just a great time.
And you'll have the phone number listed down below.
Down below. You can also follow me on the gram to see my posts about it and my stories. It's good. It's a good time.
Loved your story the other day about like, I'd let you examine my butt.
Yeah, that's the proctologist that we're having.
I know. I was like, nice, bitch. Love this. It's a forward story.
Yes.
Cool. So that's it, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye. Bye.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings Podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.